Well, howdy there guys, and welcome into today's video. So I have an important video for you guys here today, okay? I know we're living in a time right now where everybody wants to know about the next 10x stock and the next stock that's gonna go up huge and all those sorts of things. And that's phenomenal, and everybody's focused on the upside to stocks and the market in general and things like that. In my position where I've been in the market for, quite a bit of time now, since 2008, 2009, I've been in a lot of different markets, bull markets, bear markets, stock market crashes, corrections, things like that. I've seen a lot of what has gone on out there, and I'm seeing kind of what's going on right now in the market. And I want to kind of walk you guys through a little bit on why in 2021 I'm planning to actually be a rather, let's just say, more money on the sidelines than maybe in the past, and maybe than, quite frankly, ever, okay? 2020, let me just explain that real quick, okay? 2020 was by far and away one of the best years ever to invest, in my personal opinion, at least since I've been in the stock market since 2008, 2009, okay? Other than that, particular time, like this, 2020 was the best time ever to invest, okay? I mean, I invested by far and away more money in 2020 than I ever have at any point in my life. Just a lot of stocks were cheap. I don't care if you're talking growth stocks. I don't care if you're talking about turnaround companies, value plays, dividend companies. A ton of companies got extremely undervalued. And it was a time period, especially, March, April, May, even June a bit, where it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. There were a ton of deals out there, and that's just kind of the way it was, okay? And, it's obviously paid off for me, and it's paid off for a lot of other folks that invested heavily in 2020, because a lot of those stocks have gone up. Some of them 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x from where a lot of folks bought them, okay? So it definitely paid off huge, okay? But I can tell you, I'm gonna hold 7 figures to 8 figures on the sideline in 2021, okay? And I wanna kind of explain my thinking around this. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button. I know it's not the most popular thing to talk about potential downside risk and why, keeping money on the sideline is a smart idea right now. I understand that, but hey, I'm always, like I said, I'm always gonna try to be on the right side of history when it comes to these things. And if that means, potentially talking down a bit the market, I'm glad to do it, okay? That's what it's all about. And I'm watching, I kind of see what's going on YouTube, and a lot of folks are, building very successful channels, and some of those folks have only been investing in the market for like the past year or two as far as picking individual stocks. So they haven't even really, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the blind teaching the blind, but a lot of these folks just haven't seen much. Let's just put it that way. So they don't really know how to teach their people like different, anyways, okay? We don't need to talk about everybody else, all right? So let's kind of get into 5 reasons on why I am personally going to be, a little more heavy sideline money in 2021, okay? So first thing up here is what we call weak hands, okay? So weak hands, there's going to be a ton of weak hands in the market right now, okay? Weak hands essentially mean folks that have gotten in the market more recently. They haven't been used to the roller coaster ride the stock market is. They've pretty much only been on this upward ride. And what happens with these folks is when a stock starts to sell off, and I'm talking not just a day or two, I'm talking day after day after day, week after week after week, and even month after month after month, okay? More and more of these folks sell out of those stocks, okay? Because they just can't handle it. And they get to a point, because they haven't been in the market for a long time, that they don't know sometimes it takes months or even years for your bullish case to play out in a stock and for that stock to go up a bunch, okay? A lot of people that has just gotten in the market in 2020 are really addicted to this feeling of the stock has to make money over the next week or two, or it's like it's a crap stock, it's a bad stock or something like that, okay? And I can just tell you from experience, that's not always a situation, okay? So what I foresee happening in 2021 is when the stock market starts to slow more and more, okay? And when some stocks particularly start to slow more and more, and maybe even go down for, like I said, a few weeks at a time or a few months at a time, there's gonna be a ton of these newer investors that sell. It adds to more selling pressure on the stock, which makes even more weak hands sell and say, I just can't take this. I'm also down 15% on this stock. I'm down 25% on the stock. I can't take this. This is too much. I'm losing my money each day, okay? It's very, very easy if you make money consistently and it's just like, oh, it goes up every day, okay? That's cake, okay? Everybody can invest in that type of of market, okay? But that's not always the realistic possibility. That's not always what goes on, okay? And so these weak hands are definitely, it's a real thing that goes on in the stock market, and these folks will sell out, and they, you know, what if they get shaken out of the market in general, that could potentially happen, or they just get shaken out of some of these stocks, okay? I've seen it time and time again in the market, okay? In a market that goes up in almost a straight line, like we've had since the March bottom, right? You know, weak hands aren't going to get shaken out because there's not a long enough period of selling out. There's just not, okay? A day or two, everybody can almost take a day or two, even newer investors to the market. Weeks and months of a sell-off in a stock, that's where we start talking about, you know, these folks saying, I'm dumping stocks, okay? So that's going on, okay? Pump and dumps. Let's talk about pump and dumps for a minute, okay? This is something that's going on huge in the market right now, okay? It's worse than it's ever been by a mile, okay? Now, a pump and dump is not just buying, let's say, a smaller market cap company, like let's say a market cap under $1 billion. A true pump and dump is when folks have no real intention of holding that stock long term. They don't really care about or know much about the fundamentals. They're just like putting out to a big audience and understanding those people can pump it. It's a stock with a, you know, $25 million market cap. If, you know, 100,000 people see that online, whether it's an article, a video, anything across the board, an email list or something like that, hey, I'm buying this stock, like, guess what? The stock's going to go up a bunch, okay? And right now, I think we're living through a period because of the internet age, because of, you know, platforms, whether it be Reddit, YouTube, anything across the board. I think pump and dumps are worse than ever right now, okay? And the problem with pump and dumps is not just that, you know, the people that buy at the highest when a lot of these companies have, you know, little to no real future. Let's just put it that way. A lot of these companies, okay, I'm seeing people put out there. It's not just that those folks can get hurt and kind of shaken out of the market. It's really the fact that it just leads to a really bad mentality with folks, and they start getting kind of addicted to this trading feeling and things like that. And the thing with all these pump and dump schemes is they all get shut down over time because regulars end up coming after them. And then, you know, things start to get more shadow banned or just straight up banned. And so I'm watching this all play out, and I'm like, you know, this is gonna end up ending poorly. And the problem is when all these folks that have been making money from the pump and dumps stop making as much money from the pump and dumps, they have less money to invest in these other stocks, which these other stocks have been going up a bunch, okay? So it just kind of leads to a really, really poor situation. And right now, you know, folks that are leading these pump and dumps, I'm watching it, and they're being heralded as heroes right now. You know, like I said, you know, if you're putting out some stock that has a $25 million market cap, $50 million market cap, and you got an online publication or email list of hundreds of thousands, and you're putting out that you're buying that stock, like, you know, it doesn't take much to get those type of stocks to go up, okay? You know, I did a video yesterday on Walgreens Boots Alliance, okay, ticker symbol WBA. That's a $34 billion market cap. Like, I'm not going to move that stock, right? And like I said, the worst part about it all is that these people don't really have intentions of staying in these companies long term. That's what makes it a dump. They're just really treating these as like, you know, trying to make money today, trying to make money tomorrow, trying to make money over the next week, get out, sell out, make 100% on that stock or 200% or something like that. And I'm just like, it's all going to end very badly. That's all I'm going to say. Like, all I do is look at the crystal ball all the time, and I can just tell you it's going to end very, very badly, okay? So that's a whole situation, okay? Let's talk about one of my favorite stocks in the world. Let's talk about Tesla and Tesla, okay? The Tesla effect. So, Tesla is one of the most popular stocks in the entire stock market for retail investors, and a lot of funds have gotten in the stock heavily as well, okay? And the Tesla effect has been phenomenal for the stock market in general because it's kind of like proven that like retail investors can be successful. Like, it's that overarching stock that everybody knows about. I don't care who you are in the stock market. I don't care if you're the richest man in the world or the poorest man in the world. Everybody knows about Tesla and like Tesla stock and its success and those sorts of things, okay? And so you have this Tesla effect where the stock's gone up so much, and it's kind of like, it's just like a proud moment for like retail investors, like, yes, we can be highly successful, and look what's happened here with Tesla, okay? Now, but the problem with that is it's led other people to say, like, this is the next Tesla, this is the next Tesla, this is the next Tesla, everything's the next Tesla, everything's going to be the next Tesla stock and things like that, okay? And Tesla's a very special company in a very special situation with a very special CEO and a company with unlimited funding potential, right? They can raise money Elon Musk can raise money like in a snap of fingers, right? and a company with a special team there and special engineers, and all these other stocks aren't necessarily the next Tesla, okay? But when you're like, let's say that all stocks are going up in the short term, or especially a lot of growth companies, which we have seen, the NASDAQ was up, what, 40% last year? 40% I think the NASDAQ was up, right? The previous year, the NASDAQ was up, what, 35% or so? So NASDAQ's obviously loaded with a lot of growth stocks. So when you see these growth stocks take off, it kind of leads to this effect, I call it the Tesla effect, where you just think like all stocks that have a long-term vision are trying to go after something are going to go up. And the fact is, like, a lot of times these stocks take a while to play out. Remember, Tesla stock did nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing for like 5 to 6 years. Like, pull up a chart from like, I think it was 2013, 2014, all the way through 2019. Stock did nothing. I mean, absolutely pretty much nothing for like a 5 to 6 year period. It started finally moving up toward the end of 2019. I think it was like September, October, the stock finally started to move. But for like 5 to 6 years, that stock did nothing, okay? I mean, absolutely nothing. And people just don't like understand that this is not what always happens, and just because you invest in some stock is not going to go up 1,600% or something in the matter of a year or two, okay? That's just not what happens, okay? So the Tesla effect has been a great bump to the market. It's allowed investors to have a lot more confidence, put in a lot more money to the market because they can find the next Tesla, right? It's allowed some investors to sell out of that stock and put that money into other stocks, which obviously raises valuations on other stocks and things like that. And so what I foresee for Tesla is, I honestly truly believe, although I do hold that stock, I believe that stock will pull back or it will stagnate. I truly believe that, okay? Maybe it doesn't happen in 2021. Maybe 2021 it doubles again, and next thing you know, it's a $1.6 trillion market cap or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it does, okay? But let's just say hypothetically it doesn't, and Tesla has a flat year where it honestly doesn't do anything. Or dare I say Tesla goes down 25% over the next year, maybe 30%, okay? That's like, to a lot of investors who don't really understand this game, okay, that's like, just a really negative situation, because they're going to look at that and they're going to say, oh my gosh, Tesla's gone down. Maybe this whole stuff doesn't work out. And if you don't really have like a long track record where you've been in the market for years and years, you don't know that these things take time a lot of times. Like I said, it's not all the time you get a stock to go up 16% in 1,600% in a couple years. And so if the Tesla effect slows down, obviously I think that's going to affect the entire market in a negative manner. And like I said, that kind of leads back to number one, where a lot of these weak hands, if their stock sells off, doesn't do anything, they end up selling out. And they're like, wait a minute, I thought I could just become a millionaire in the stock market tomorrow or something like that. And it's like, hey man, this stuff usually takes time, all right? Now let's talk about the next thing, okay? Let's talk about Euphoria. So there's obviously a lot of euphoria in the market in general, pretty much since like March, right? And the reason being is you look at the economy, right? You're saying, well, the economy is going to get better and better in 2021 as the economy opens up even more and more, right? You say Rona vaxes are coming out. And you look at all these things, okay? And it's obviously like a lot of euphoria. But the thing people don't understand is some businesses have been benefiting because there's a lack of places to spend your money, right? There's not all the million different places you can spend your money. So there's been a concentration into certain businesses and companies and public companies and stocks where people have been spending a lot of money. Well, when money velocity gets back going in the right way, which money velocity is a good thing, and there's more competition on where you spend your money, how's it going to affect some of these stocks? Do they get the same bump they were getting before, okay? And right now in the market, there's a lot of just euphoria overall. There's a lot of not much fear. And usually the market is fairly balanced, okay? Sometimes there's more, just euphoria in the air than there is bearishness in the air. Sometimes there's more bearishness in the air than there is euphoria. And I've been in those type of markets before where everybody's just down talking the market and it's just negativity and it's hard to find like any sunlight in the market, okay? I've been in those type of markets. It's not fun, but there's usually a lot of good deals in those sorts of markets, okay? But right now, I mean, we're on this complete opposite spectrum of that, okay? The euphoria is immense. The down talk, the negativity around the market in general is fairly low, okay? That's just the type of market we're in right now. And so you're in this euphoria stage, and that's why you hear some folks starting to talk about, bubble. Are we in another tech bubble or things like that, okay? If you look at valuations, we're not quite there, okay? But we're closer to being there than in past years, I can tell you that, okay? And that's why you're gonna hear some of that talk, because the bottom line is there is euphoria in the air, okay? Let's talk about this last thing, then we'll talk about if you're a noob in the market, should you even invest in the market right now? Should you wait it out? Should you sell out of your stocks if you're, let's say you've only been investing for a few months or maybe a year or something like that. We'll talk about that, okay? And then, lastly, let's talk about this, okay? The spring stimulus, okay? The spring stimulus. So, there's a ton of euphoria in the market additionally, other than just the economy opening back up and, the Rona-vax and like the world getting back to normal, okay? On top of that, you have this spring stimulus that everybody's talking about, okay? And, everybody's talking about it's gonna be $2,000 into everybody's pocket, okay? And there's no doubt that would be good for the stock market. There's no doubt that would be good for the overall economy. And it's a realistic possibility that this could get passed, okay? It's not a for sure thing, but it's realistic that this could happen, okay? And so there's obviously more euphoria in the market because of this, okay? But here's the thing about this, okay? The market's always forward-looking. So after that gets done, or even kind of coming up really soon when it kind of looks like it could be getting done, then the market starts to look forward and say, okay, what's next? And the fact is, we don't know of any stimulus coming past that potential $2,000 spring stimulus. And it's doubtful, especially if the economy opens back up, that more stimulus will be coming past that, okay? There will be huge pushback after that, because then, a lot of these folks will say, wait a minute, okay? Are we going full, like, socialistic program where we're sending out, stimulus checks to everybody forever? Is this something that's going on? Because Rona is a thing of the past. That's what people will start talking about after that. And they'll be like, wait a minute, before you could kind of cover it up as this is like helping, obviously, for the Rona situation, people that are out of work and trying to get the economy going and things like that. But after that, if there's no more stimulus coming, what does the market do? Has the market gotten addicted to that stimulus, okay? And that's a big question that has to be answered. And no one knows the answer to this because we've never been through this situation. We've never been through a situation where just tons of money has been pumped out there the way it has this time, right? I mean, we had a $1,200 stimulus check out there. We had $600 stimulus check, I think is in most people's bank account now, okay? And then you're gonna have this potential $2,000 one, okay? And so you get that pump of money out there to folks, but like, what does that lead to? Where does this go from here? And does this continue on? Is the market addicted to this? And just like looking at this is like, okay, now we don't get stimulus? Okay, sell, okay? That's a big question. No one knows the answer to this. Like I said, no one. No, I don't know the answer to this. You don't know the answer to this. No one. We can all guess. We can just guess. But no one knows truly the answer because we've never been through any situation remotely close to this in modern economic times, okay? And like I said, when you have all of a sudden more and more of the economy opening up and you have more competition for money, which is going to start being, right? More competition for money. How does this all play out? And remember, what happens when, all the other countries cut off their stimulus as well? Because a lot of other countries around the world have had kind of these stimulus programs going and things like that. And what happens when the fears start rolling around, the potential of all the debt that's been created out there? And how's this debt get paid off? And oh my gosh, when everybody kind of looks at the aftermath and it's like, oh my goodness, have you looked at the Fed's balance sheet lately? What happens, this is all stuff that has to play out that no one knows how it's going to play out, okay? And so that's why when I'm kind of going into 2021 here and I'm kind of looking at everything across the board and I'm looking at all these different things and I'm looking at the bearish points and the bullish points and I'm looking at different stocks, I'm looking at all this and I'm saying, I definitely want to keep a good amount of money on the sideline this year because there's definitely a lot of, let's call it speed bumps that can pop up throughout this year. Now those speed bumps, especially if they're big speed bumps and they cause the market to go down, quite a bit, or a lot of particular stocks go down, that opens up good buying opportunities, okay? And that's when I like to deploy money. Like I said, I put by far and away the most money ever in my life in the market in 2020 because there were just a lot of deals because there were huge sell-offs. If that potentially happens in 2021, I've got to be ready for that, okay? And so that's why I'm kind of, in this situation where I'm looking at all this and I'm like, I think it's an interesting time when everybody else is, going all in the market and everybody else is trying to put every dime in the market as they have been recently because they've been seeing the market go up. They've been seeing all these stocks go up and they're like, why the heck would I hold cash? I need to get every dollar in the market as possible because look at the market just goes up. The stocks just go up. Look at all these great growth stocks. And they have this kind of like recurring thing that's going on where they're just seeing everything go up and up and up. And they're like, why do I not have every dollar in this market? Why am I not margined out in this market? Margin's at the highest rate ever right now, right? You know, think about all these sorts of things, okay? Now, if you're a newbie in the market, let's talk about this. If you're a noob in the market, do you basically get out of this market? Do you stay away from this market? Do you sell out of this market and things like that, okay? Let's speak about this for a moment. So if you're a noob in the market, you need to get in the market, okay? I don't care, like there's never gonna be a perfect time to get in the market. And the best thing about, like if you're new to the stock market, you gotta get in. Because the problem is if you don't get in, like you never start learning, okay? I mean, I started investing in 2008, 2009. That was a crazy time. I mean, you know, stocks were dropping almost every day. It looked like the worst time in the world. I had people around me, close family members that said, you know, don't invest in the stock market. It's going down. It's a bad time to get in, things like that. Like, who cares, okay? The bottom line is you have to get in the market. You have to just jump in the pool and learn how to swim, okay? Regardless if the waters are smooth or the waters are wavy, okay? You have to just get in there, okay? So if you're a noob, you gotta get in the market. And if you're thinking about selling out of all your stocks because, well, you know, this could happen, that could happen, I think that's also a mistake. You don't see me going ahead and selling out all my stocks. I have millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in the market. You don't see me going ahead and saying, I got to cash out all my stocks because this could happen and that could happen. That's a bad decision as well. You have to just play these things out. And it's kind of like you always keep a certain amount of cash on the sideline. I always like to keep 10 to 30% on the sideline in case like different scenarios play out. We get dips in the market, certain stocks sell off big. I want to always be ready for those type of situations. The one decision usually to never make is to just sell out of your stocks altogether because something can go bad. There were plenty of people selling out of all their stocks in March, right? I mean, you guys saw the way that stock market just went, shoosh. Why did that happen? Massive quantities of selling. And I mean gargantuan quantities of selling, okay? You don't get the market to go down. That was the fastest stock market crash we ever had in stock market history, okay? 35% drop in, what was it? 22 trading days or some insane amount. You don't get that crash without an immense amount of selling. People were selling every stock they possibly could, okay? They were selling out across the board. And how did that pay off for those folks? How did it pay off for those folks? They lost ridiculous amounts of money. They were selling off at really bad prices. And meanwhile, look where the market's at now. Look where stocks are at in general now. Look at how many people were selling out of stocks in 2008, 2009. I mean, the market in 2007, the Dow was 14,000 plus. The lows, I think it was March of 2009, I want to say. The market bottomed as far as the Dow, I think it was 6,600, 6,700, something like that. It had fallen over 50%. And there were people still selling. For what? For what, okay? It never makes sense to sell out of the market. It never makes sense to just say, I'm going to stay out of the market because it could go down or something like that. It could always go down. No one knew it was going to happen in 2020. But the bottom line is, let's say you had been thinking about investing in the stock market in late 2019, let's say, for instance, but you're like, no, I'm going to stay out of the market because I don't know what could happen, okay? Then the Rona situation happens. You didn't know what to do. You weren't going to buy stocks at the lows. Like, a lot of people just didn't know because you weren't in the market yet. You have to get experience. You have to actually get in the pool to actually learn how to swim, right? You can watch YouTube videos all day about how to swim until you get in the pool and actually go swim. You don't know how to do it. And that's the same exact thing with the stock market. If you don't get in, good luck. You know, you're not going to all of a sudden just, have all the success and things like that. You got to actually experience it. You got to actually do it, okay? So that's why I'm keeping a lot of money on the sideline in 2021. And hey, if a bunch of great stocks fall a bunch, I'll be happy to deploy money in the market. Like I said, 2020, I put more money in the market than any point in my life by far. And hey, it's very possible I could deploy a ton of money in the market in 2021. Maybe there's deals everywhere. Maybe, some of these scenarios start to play out and we get some real weakness. But for now, I'm watching a lot of people going all in. I'm watching a lot of people going all in on margin. I'm watching all these things play out and I'm kind of like, let me chill a little bit now. Let me chill a little bit. I put crazy amounts of money in the market in 2020, and now I'm just kind of at this place where I'm like, I'm gonna chill a little bit, and let's kind of see how some of these things play out. And I got things ready. I always stay looking into companies. I always stay researching. I always put in the work, and then, patience. That's all I say, patience, okay? Thank you for watching, and have a great day.